Hi there. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can add reviews and ratings to your Webflow site, completely no code and in under 5 minutes. Now, what sets this solution apart is that you can customize the design of every single element of your reviews section inside of the Webflow Designer to match the design of the rest of your website, instead of having to embed a widget with cookie cutter design. Also, this solution integrates with Memberstack and Outseta, so when a user is logged in through either of these membership tools and posts a review or responds to another review, profile data of your choosing, such as profile image or name, gets automatically displayed with their content, like in these examples right here. Also, guests / non-registered members can also post content like you saw earlier in the video. However, just to know who they are, usually they will be required to provide a name and email. The email will be hidden from the content itself, but the name gets displayed with whatever content they post. So I'll just show you quickly an example of this membership tool integration in action. So I'm just going to first off log in through Memberstack, and then if I refresh, first off, you'll notice that the guest name and email inputs are no longer visible. So now if I just post my review, you'll see that my review includes my account's profile image and also name. So this solution is great for multiple things, not just increasing conversion for products on an e-commerce website, but also you can use this to improve engagement or SEO on something like a directory website. Also, this is great for adding reviews to recipe blogs, or you could even build a Goodreads or Letterboxd style social reviews website for a certain niche, especially factoring in this feature where users can reply to other reviews. And one other thing that makes this solution really cool is that as more reviews with ratings get added to a static CMS item or product page, the average rating and total reviews data dynamically updates. Okay, let's get started with the implementation. So the app we are going to use is called SuperSparks. And the first step is to sign up to SuperSparks if you haven't done so already. And I will provide a link in the description to SuperSparks and the sign up page. And after signing up, we will be directed to this screen. And then we're just going to select the website that we would like to add reviews to. And then we're just going to click Authorize App. And then after seeing this screen, we can get started. First off, I'm just going to go to the page where I would like to add reviews. So yeah, in this example, users will be able to review different agencies. So now if I just jump back to SuperSparks, we can get started. So I'm just first going to click Add Sparks. And then I'm just going to select e-commerce and CMS reviews. And then I'm just going to click this button down below. And then afterwards, I'm just going to select the type of page that I would like to add reviews to. So this solution will work on 3 types of pages inside of Webflow. So static pages, and then also collection template pages like the one I just went to. And then you can also add this to e-commerce product pages. But just for this demo, I'm just going to select the CMS option. And then if you would like to add reviews to a product page later on, you can just go back to the home page and click Add Sparks and go through the installation process again. So now the first step is to select a component. So as you can see here, there's a wide range of components that you can select from. For example, this one here has a pop-up review form, and then also doesn't have nested replies like most of the other components. However, just for this video, I'm going to select the first one, and then I'm just going to click Copy Component. And then afterwards, I'm just going to go to the Webflow project. And then again, I'm on this collection template page where I am adding reviews to, and then I'm just going to paste in the component by pressing Control V or Command V, and then I can proceed with the next step. So one detail I just wanted to highlight, this step of copying and pasting the component won't work on Safari, so just be sure to use a different browser for this step. Okay, so now the last step before we can get started testing is to copy this code snippet, and then we're just going to jump over to the Webflow project again, and then go to the page settings for the page that we're adding reviews to, and then we're just going to paste this code snippet as high as we can inside of the head tag. And then we're just going to click save. And then after we can publish and start testing our review section. Okay, so now if we just scroll down, if we now test and leave a review as a guest, you'll see that my review gets posted down below. And then the name I provided in this input also gets displayed with my review. And then, of course, the email is hidden. Okay, now that we've gotten reviews working, we can now get started adapting the design of the component, only if you would like to. So for example, you can change the layout of certain elements, and then you can also change the star icons. So for example here, let's just change the filled star icon to black. You can also change the text styling inside of the review section. And then, yeah, this is really just scratching the surface. You can really let your imagination run wild. And yeah, you can also change the star icons inside of this hover interaction. However, the process is a bit more tedious than just changing it inside of the review section. So you just have to one by one change every star icon inside of this radio button input. And then one thing I wanted to highlight is to just avoid removing or renaming any class that starts with SuperSparks. So you can, of course, remove these classes if you were wanting to change the class structure. For example, if I wanted to style this button to match the design of the template. So button 2, but just be sure to add the class back after removing it. Okay. So now if we just publish these changes and then go back to publish page and then refresh, you can then see that these changes are now live. Okay, then if we just go back to SuperSparks and then go to the next step, these are all optional / extra features that you can add to your review section. So many of these actually come pre-installed with the component. However, if there's any other ones that you would like to add, just be sure to check out this section and browse through all of the additional features. And I'm not going to show you how to add every single one in this video because there are many tutorials for all of these extra features inside of the SuperSparks editor. And I will also provide a link in the description with tutorials to all of these extra functions. And then afterwards, we can just proceed to the launch checklist. And yeah, this is just to make sure that you went through all of the steps that I just provided in this video. And then one last thing I would make sure to test is that replies are working. So let's just make sure that this is all okay. And yeah, looks good. And then for the reply form, for all of our components, the reply form is hidden by default and only opens and closes from different interactions. So if you were interested in adapting the design of it, you can just find it inside of the review section and you can just unhide it here, adapt the design, and then hide it back. Okay, now that we've covered the installation basics, there are a few additional details I wanted to highlight before showing you how to implement the different membership tools. So if you just go to the settings section, there are a bunch of optional settings that you can add to your review section. For example, you can be notified whenever a new review gets added. You can also add a custom webhook here, and then you can also add a pre-moderation setting. So you are able to review and manually approve any new reviews before they're published on your website. And then if we just go over to the content dashboard, you can find here all of the reviews that get posted to your different websites. And then here you can moderate different pieces of content. So for example, if I wanted to delete this reply, and then if I just go back to the live website, you'll see that that reply is no longer visible on my website, and then I can reapprove it as well. Okay, so now I think we can get started with the membership tool implementation. So now I'm just back on the Spark editor for the review section that we just added. Now for Memberstack, first off, this solution will only work if Memberstack is installed on your website. So if you haven't done this already or you're unsure about a few details with this, I will provide a link in the description that goes into more detail on how to implement Memberstack. But I've already gone through the process of implementing it on this directory site. So with Memberstack, you might notice that there are a few custom fields that come pre-filled inside of the different membership field sections inside of the SuperSparks editor. And these are for first name and last name. So the reason for this is because these fields also come pre-installed by default with Memberstack. So as you can see here, there's the first name and last name for this newly created Memberstack project. So now if I just log in, I can then get started adding a review. So first off, I'm just going to go to the page for an agency. And then if I just scroll down to the review section, I'm just going to add my review. And then you'll notice here that the guest name and email inputs are still visible. So all of our components come pre-installed with these inputs, and I will show you after this what to do with these for when a user is logged in through Memberstack. But for this demo, I'm just going to provide some gibberish here. And then now if I post the review, you'll see that my profile image and name, or at least first name, gets displayed with my review. So the reason only the first name is showing is because all of our components should come pre-installed with one element just for displaying the name. But since Memberstack splits up their account registration by default by first name and last name, we just have to add in an additional element for displaying the last name. So what you can do is you can just copy this element here for the first name, then you can just paste it, and then you can remove this class for displaying first name. And then if we just go to the custom field 1 slot, you'll see that the last name is already added here. And then if we just copy this class, we can then paste it onto this element here. And then, well, I've already added some margin here, but yeah, you can just update this so there's spacing between the two elements. Then you can also do the same for the reviews element. So you can just copy and paste the same element from here. And then, yeah, after publishing, we should be able to see the last name with the review I just posted. And there you go. Okay, now if you would like to use Outseta, in the membership section of the SuperSparks editor, you're just going to select Outseta as your membership tool and click Save. And then in order for this solution to work, it's super important that Outseta is implemented on your website. So I will provide a link in the description that goes into more detail on how to implement Outseta if you haven't done so already. So now I'm just going to jump over to another Webflow site where I have implemented Outseta. So now if I just log in and then just go back to the reviews page, again, you'll notice that the name and email input are visible here. So like I said in the Memberstack part, I will go over what to do with these guest inputs that come pre-installed with all of our templates later on in the video. So now if I just leave my first review, and then for the name and email inputs, it can just be, again, gibberish. But yeah, now you'll notice that profile details from my account get displayed with my review. So if I just jump over to the user profile page, here are all of my profile details that are being displayed with my content. Okay, so you might notice for both of these membership tools, there are a bunch of extra membership fields and features that you can add to your member reviews functionality. So I'm not going to go over how to implement every single one of these in this video. I will provide a link in the description that dives into more detail. However, some of the features you can add are usernames. So if you would like to have a level of anonymity on your website, you can display usernames instead of the user's actual name with their content, similar to what you would see on a site like Reddit. You can also enable notification. So when a user replies to another user's review or another user's reply, the person that posted the content that's being responded to receives an email notification. So this is just really valuable for increasing engagement and ensuring users come back to your website to continue the conversation. And then there are up to 3 custom text fields that you can display with reviews. So I lightly touched on this with the Memberstack implementation, but for example, if you were interested in displaying the user's profession and the company that the user works for, you could do that by implementing custom fields. And then there's one other detail that I've been teasing throughout the video that I wanted to touch on, and that's what to do with the name and email inputs for member reviews. So logged in members don't need to provide this data since it's already connected to their account. So if you would only like members to be able to post reviews, you can just flat out delete these. However, if you would like both guests and members to be able to post content, what you would do is you would use the different feature/content gating functionality of Outseta or Memberstack. And if you were interested in only allowing registered members that are logged in or members of a certain group to be able to post content, you would also use these feature gating and content gating features from Memberstack and Outseta. So I'm just going to show you an example with Memberstack. The process is identical for Outseta. However, the attributes are just slightly different, but you can also use the different apps for Memberstack and Outseta to configure this. So first off, I'm just going to show you the hybrid setup where both guests and members are able to post content. So first off, you would add a attribute here called data ms content, and then adding an exclamation mark members would make it so this element is only visible to logged out visitors. So now if I publish and then refresh the page and then scroll up, you'll see that the guest name and email inputs are no longer visible since I'm logged in. And now if I log out, and just return to that page, scroll down, you'll see that they're visible here for guests. And then you would just follow the same process inside of the replies forms. So you would just, again, unhide these and then add the same attribute. And then if you were interested in posting content member only, as I mentioned earlier, what you would do is either hide or just delete these guest inputs. If you're hiding, just make sure that the name and email inputs aren't set to required. But yeah, for this demo, I'm just going to delete it. And then I'm just going to, first off, add the same attributes we just added. Sorry, I'm just going to go over here and then paste it in. And then we're just going to make it so this form element is only visible to logged in members. So for the value, I'm not adding in an exclamation mark here. And then what I would recommend doing just to ensure there's a nice and smooth user experience is adding in an element here that says something like log in to get started. So yeah, I'm sure you can do much better than that. But yeah, then you can just add in a little call to action here that says sign up. Just change the color. And then, yeah, what you would do then with this element is you would again add in an attribute. And then for the value, you would just make it exclamation point members. So again, the process is identical for Outseta, and I will provide a link in the description where you can find the relevant attributes for setting this up. So now if I publish and then go back to this page, you'll see that this element is showing instead of the form. And then now if I just log back in, and then go back to the page I was testing on, if we just scroll down, you'll see that the reviews form is now visible since I am logged in. And then you're just going to follow the same steps for the reply forms. So just going to unhide the reply form block, and then you can add in the attributes to only show the reply form to logged in members. And then you can also just reuse this element here, so you can just paste it into the div block for the reply form. Now, before ending this video, there's one additional feature I wanted to highlight, and that is the ability to sync average rating and total reviews data into a CMS collection. So first off, this is useful for displaying and including the average rating and total reviews data in a collection list element, like in this example here for sorting and filtering. And then also it's useful for schemas. So in case you're unfamiliar with schemas, basically that's what's allowing all of this data to be included with Google search listings. So with this functionality here, you will be able to provide Google with your average rating and total reviews data for all of your CMS items or products in a collection. Let's get started with the implementation quickly. So we're just going to go to the settings section inside of the SuperSparks editor, and then go to data CMS sync, and then just switch on this toggle switch. Now, if we just jump over to our Webflow project and then go to the collection that users are able to review, then if we just go to the settings, we're just going to add in 2 number fields. So the first one is for total reviews. And then I'm just going to click save. And then afterwards, I'm just going to add one for average rating. And then it's super important that we add a decimal as the format. And then we just have to make sure that the precision matches up with the precision inside of the SuperSparks editor. So by default, in SuperSparks, it's set to 1 decimal. So we're just going to make sure that that is the same inside of the CMS field for average rating. Okay, then after clicking save, we can then just go back to SuperSparks, and then if we just refresh and then go back to this page, again, we're just going to select the collection that users are reviewing, and then we're just going to select the total reviews field that we just added for the second select input, and then for the third one for average rating, we're just going to select the average rating field that we just created, and we're just going to click Save Settings. Okay, now if we just go back to the Webflow project, and then if we just add a new review here, what's going to happen is if we just go to the Webflow CMS collection, so this can sometimes take a few seconds, or sometimes it just requires refreshing to be able to actually see the average rating and total reviews inside of the CMS field. So if we just go to this CMS item that we just added the review to, as you can see here, the total reviews and average rating data is now being synced into this CMS item. Okay, now if we just jump over to a collection list element where all of the agencies are being listed, I'm then just going to add in a div block, and this is just where I'm going to show the average rating and total reviews data. So now if I just connect this to, let's do the average rating, you'll see that it's now in the collection list element, and then you can just add in a star icon beside it. And now if I just add in another text block to add some separation here, and then now if I just add in another text block here, I can then just connect this one to the total reviews number, and then maybe add in one more that says something like total reviews. So if you were interested in maybe showing an element that says something like no reviews yet, and then hiding these elements here, you could then just use conditional visibility. So when average rating or total reviews is greater than 0, this element is visible. So you can kind of play around with the conditional visibility settings to show different elements here. And then one last detail I wanted to highlight is that the average rating and total reviews data won't get synced until a new review gets added. Now, I'm just going to briefly touch on how this would work for schemas. So there's many different types of schemas you could add to your collection template page. And I will, again, provide a link in the description to a tutorial that dives more into how to implement this with CMS and product pages in Webflow. But basically, I'm just going to grab this template for a movie schema here. And then I'm just going to paste it into the body tag. And then I'm just going to show you quickly how you could pull in the reviews data for the aggregate rating section of a schema. So first off, we're just going to click Add Field here and then select Average Rating for the rating value. And then for best rating, SuperSpark's review scale is out of 5. So we're just going to add a 5 here. And then for rating count, we're just going to add the total reviews field. So this will just provide Google with the average rating and total reviews for every single CMS item that has reviews. And that's pretty much everything I wanted to show you in this video. Again, I will provide links in the description for additional tutorials to additional features that you can add to your review sections. And then if you have any questions, do not hesitate to comment on this video or reach out to us at hello@supersparks.io. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching and take care.